Hi, good evening. Welcome to Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Farah Lewis, and we are here with a phenomenal author by the name of Kashaun Cooper and his newly released book, The Champion Father. We'll be back with Kashaun Cooper. Hi, welcome back to Beyond Focus TV, and we are here with author, motivational speaker, jack of all trades, Kashaun Cooper. How are you?
How are you doing? It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. So our audience doesn't really know who you are, so tell us, who is Kashaun Cooper?
Well, I'm glad you said author and motivational speaker. Yes, that's what I do, but first and foremost, I am a father and I am a husband, going on 10 years of marriage. I'm pretty sure you probably can see the little gray hairs right there. And having 5 children, it would do it to you. Yeah. But I am a motivational speaker. I really don't like to call myself a motivational speaker. I really like to say that I like to have a conversation where both parties leave empowered. Okay. But I am an author. I will say that. I will say I am an author. This is my second book. This is my second book within 365 days. Let me just add.
That's progressive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what's the name of your first book? First
book is What If I Am, the 4 Stages in Life. What if I am the 4 stages in life? And then that book led me to writing The Champion Father. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us, identify yourself.
Well, getting back to that part, I am a person who loves people. I love to see people happy. It took me a long time to get there because myself, I was a very, very unhappy person due to the situations and circumstances that I experienced in my childhood. But once I got rid of and eradicated those negative emotions and feelings, I guess I was introduced to the Kashaun that you see here today, and I know how great it feels when I wake up every morning. Some people, they just hate what's going on in their lives, and don't get me wrong, I do have some bad days, but all in all, I really love life. And if I like this feeling, my job as a human being, my obligation is to make sure and do my part that everybody could experience the same feeling of happiness.
So we read in your bio that you grew up without your father at some point. So talk to us about that experience. Well,
the fall of 1986 was a very, very interesting time for me. That led me to where I'm at today. Fall of '86, I never forget, downtown Brooklyn. Okay. We were in a courtroom. And we left. I don't know how it worked, but I know they excused us from the courtroom, and they brought us back in. And when they brought us back, family. Correct. They asked my mother and I to leave. I believe my sister was there. I believe they excused us from the courtroom, and then they invited us back in. And then when they brought us back in, I never forget the look on my mother's face. It was, a hard look. She was just crying. She wouldn't stop crying. I'm like, why is this woman crying? I'm 6 years old now. So I step around, the dividers that divide the courtroom. My father, arms behind his back, and I see 2 officers on each side. And long and behold, it was something that really changed my life forever. My father was in handcuffs. It was that event, that picture, that really scarred me, let me say. But it was the words that he spoke after that really placed a huge mandate on my life. Okay. He looked in my eyes, and I was 6 years old, so I had to be probably about 3'6". And he looked me in my eyes and he said, Kashaun, Daddy isn't coming home anytime soon. You are now the man of the house. Your job is to protect your mother, protect the house, and protect your sister.
What did that do to you when you heard that?
Then I just broke down in tears. You know, I didn't, looking back, I didn't realize the responsibility that he placed on me. Then
Huge responsibility.
Absolutely, to protect my mother, you know, that's a given, but to protect the house. At 6 years old, when I'm still watching Hulk Hogan and still, you know, going to the bathroom in the bed, you know, doing things that 6-year-olds do, but he placed that mandate on me because he wasn't coming home anytime soon. It really hurt me, and I never forget my big brother, my good friend, my mentor, Lance Heisman. He took me in. My father got locked up at the age when I was 6 years old. I met Lance at 7, and I never forget. We was at a particular church here in Brooklyn, and you know, he introduced himself to me, and I told him my story. And from that moment on, from 7 years old up into 30, he's still in my life. But I remember sitting in his house, and I just kept crying, saying, "I just want my daddy. I just want my daddy. I just want my daddy." So it really did a lot to me emotionally, psychologically, you know, socially. It really did a lot. It affected me in such a way, and I brought those effects in my marriage, the way I deal with my children, the way I deal with people in general. It really, not having my dad there really put me at a disadvantage.
So how has that experience changed you as a man, who you are today?
The hurt. You know, there's a saying that hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And the other side of the spectrum is help people help people. Once you get past the hurt, now that's where I'm at now. I'm at the stage of helping people because I've been helped. That as a parent, it really, two things happen to a father or to a man once his father isn't in the picture. If his father isn't in the picture, either he will repeat the pattern and become inactive or become absent, or like myself, he will overcompensate as a father. Absolutely, for what he was lacking, he will overcompensate, and this is across the border. You can talk to any father. It doesn't matter nationality. It doesn't matter even where in the world. If a father was absent, two things would happen. He would either repeat the pattern or overcompensate, and that's what I've done. I have overcompensated. I mean, I must tell my kids I love them so much. My Kashaun Jr., he said, "Daddy, I just wish you stopped telling me you love me." I said, but guess what? Those are the words that I do not want you to forget, because it took. I was 28. That was the first time my father ever told me he loved me.
That was 2 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the first 28 years of my life, as far as I can remember, my father was gone for about 6.5 years when he was incarcerated. But as far as I can remember, as an adult, my father never expressed those 3 words, "I love you." And I knew, and that in itself, those 3 words done right, said right, it has such an enormous impact on an individual. And I was lacking that. To hear "I love you, Kashaun," you know, I was lacking that. So I knew that at 28 years old, I did not want to go into a new year. And I called my father and I said, and it was a long conversation. I can get straight to the point, but I did not know how to express to my father, "Hey man, you never told me you love me." And once I finally, it took me 30 minutes to just say that, but once I finally got to that point, he said, "Kashaun, I've always loved you." Once he said that, I felt like a little kid again. I felt like a little boy. I did.
So we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about how that actual experience led you to the champion father.
Absolutely.
We'll be back. Welcome back to Beyond Focus TV. We're here with author Kashaun Cooper, and you were explaining to us that moment in time when your father told you he loved you for the first time.
You see, I'm over here, you know, lost for words.
Yeah, lost for words.
Because I'm so used to, well, at that point, I was so used to giving love to my kids. And, you know, for the record, to all your viewers, at one point, I even envied my children because I wanted to feel the same love they felt.
Never heard of
I've never, to hold my babies and to hug them and embrace them. That's something that I've lacked. So, and I would tell them, I said, man, y'all guys are really lucky. Y'all really lucky.
Really good.
I said, I wish I had a father in my life like y'all. I really did. But to hear those words, Kashaun, I love you, I retorted back to being the same 6-year-old boy when he left me.
Yeah. That day in that courtroom.
Yep. That day in that courtroom, that's where it picked back up. I was like, wow, man, this is what it feels like. This is the way it sounds coming from a parent. But he told me in that conversation, he said, Kashaun, I've always loved you. He said, you always be my baby. But I only did what I knew to do. And that right there was so interesting when he said that. He said, I only did what my father showed me.
Wow.
So now, in hindsight and with a level of maturity, my father did his best as a father.
As of what he knew how
Absolutely,
to do.
because you can only teach what you know.
Yeah.
You can't teach no more than that. So of course, I'm not justifying it, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Looking back, that you can only teach what you know, and he did his best. Whatever, you can never become more than what you're exposed to, and that's what it was.
Well, so you're at that point where now you're a grown man, you're married, you have kids.
Lots of them.
Lots of them, 5 of them. And now we're here where you wrote a book called The Champion Father. What led to this project? What led you to this point where you got to write this book?
Well, let me tell you something. I almost didn't write that book.
Really?
The reason for that is my big brother, Lance, he said, Kashaun, your next book should be about fatherhood. And I immediately dismissed him. I said, no. First of all, to write the first book, I thank God for my family. Because when I go into writing mode, I shut down. I don't hear nothing. I don't see nothing. So the process that it took to write the first book was tedious. But now you're talking about a second book?
You didn't want to go back to that place.
No, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. But and then he said, your next book should be about fatherhood. So immediately I associate fatherhood or parenting books with the how-to, put your kids to bed by 9 and do all these different things that really bore me half to death. So I said, no, I'm not going through all of that. But a good friend of mine from Australia, he contacted me via Facebook. He said, Mr. Cooper, your next book should be on fatherhood. I said, okay.
Confirmation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I said, okay, let me figure out what I'm going to do. So I have a nonprofit, Father's Rock, that's been around for 4 years. And Farah, the conversations that I have with men all over the world is fascinating. And
it's a worldwide organization.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Our mission and our initiative is to support fathers. We want to strengthen the community. How do we strengthen the community? It's great that we have organizations for mothers. I really, really appreciate organizations for women and mothers, and I definitely appreciate organizations for children. Children are our future. However, it is impossible to have a healthy community without a healthy man, without a healthy father. So that's what Father's Rock mission is, and an initiative is to strengthen the man using a positive seed planting philosophy to work on the self-development, to work on the inward, because how the inward look and how the inward feel, the outward. Absolutely.
Okay.
So talking to men all over the world and listen to their stories, why they do what they do. Some men travel across the world to see their children. They would leave everything behind. They would, they would take on children of other women. They date a woman, they fall in love with the woman, and then they
fall in love with the child.
Absolutely. So these stories are so phenomenal. And I asked myself this question: why are you doing this? That's what I asked Kashaun, why are these fathers doing this? What is it? What is it that can be so powerful that will cause a man to father another child? We call it father by choice, not by blood. Why? Why would a father work 3 and 4 jobs, or sprain his ankle and still go to work and still take his kids to the park. What is it that can be so strong? And after talking to fathers all over the world, Farah, it's very simple. The one ingredient, which is powerful, though invisible, its forces are mighty. It's love.
Yes.
It's love. Something very, very, very,
very simple.
Very simple, yet powerful.
Yes.
And that's what the Champion Father is. The Champion Father is a great story about love. You get to see the embodiment of a champion father through love. Love is the umbrella of why, love is the umbrella, and why he does what he do falls under the umbrella of love through the struggling, through the sacrificing, through working out and having and maintaining a healthy relationship with the child's mother, which is really, really big, through maintaining a healthy lifestyle, mental and physical. And those things really, really intrigued me, and that's what led me to writing The Champion Father.
Okay.
Because in order to become a champion, you must confront, not run away from your challenges.
I like that. I like that. So, Kashaun, I wanna find out from you what a champion father actually looks like. But before you answer, we're gonna go to a quick break and come right back with Kashaun Cooper. Welcome back to Beyond Focus TV. So, Kashaun, what does a champion father look like?
Well, the champion father has many different faces. There is, you can't really place your thumb on the champion father. You know how you say success is a journey, not a destination?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
The journey, not a destination.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The champion father is the same way. He's ever evolving. He's always becoming. So the champion father, under the umbrella of love, is ever catering himself to the situation. So the champion father, he only sees through one lens, and that's the lens of love.
Okay.
He treats everyone, it doesn't matter if he knows them or not, as a champion father.
Okay.
Because he knows in return, eventually, over time, he will become, he will be treated like a champion. So the champion father is always thinking, it's easy for us to think in hindsight, but the champion father is always thinking with the future in mind, knowing that the flowers we see today are from the seeds from yesterday, and the flowers that we see tomorrow are from the seeds that the champion father sowed today. So he's always keeping his mind, he lives in the present while keeping a close eye on the future.
So in this book, there are several, and then you say the champion father has lots of faces, lots of different types of men. So you have a lot of stories in here from different men and different situations. So which one struck out to you the most?
Well, they all were phenomenal. All were phenomenal. Let me just say that each interview, you know how we say, men don't cry? Start talking about his children. Let a father start talking about his child, or his children, or his family. You can hear it. Start crying. It was just phenomenal. I'm like, wow, these men are, excuse me, Mr. Cooper, let me get myself together. So each story was phenomenal, but one of my favorite stories, because I can relate to this, Cliff
Yes.
is a story, and I love that story. And, Cliff talked about how he did not feel like a champion father. The time he did not feel like a champion father was the time he could not provide financially for his family. And you know what, Farah? That is probably the biggest roadblock and obstacle for a man and a father to get over, is his inability to provide for his family. And Cliff said, he felt depressed. He wouldn't do anything. He was just laying on the couch. And he thought about taking his life.
Yes.
he was done. He was ready to throw in the towel on his life. But he said he looked at his daughter, and he said his daughter looked back at him, and he said, Kashaun, my daughter didn't see any of the things that I saw. My daughter didn't see me not having the ability to provide for her and her brother and our family. The only thing she saw was Daddy.
Yes.
And he said at that moment, he jumped off the couch and said, you know what? It's time for me to get back on track. He said, I have no superpowers, but to my daughter and to my son, I am their superhero.
So how do you go from an ordinary father to a champion father?
Well, really quickly, if I may.
Yeah, you can.
Three quick tips, 3 quick strategies that any father right now, and it doesn't matter what stage in the cultivation process, you know, we have new fathers, active fathers, inactive fathers, seasoned fathers. So you can utilize these tips,
3 tips,
right? These tips and strategies to grow as a father, because like I said, the champion father is ever evolving, he's ever growing, ever changing. So the first thing is focus on your child's future. Focus on your child's future. And it reminds me of a story, Daniel Go Lightly. This is one of my favorite stories, again, in the book. Daniel lived in Kentucky. His daughter lived in Fort Lauderdale. Daniel bought 3 round trip tickets.
So he could go see his
absolutely
kids.
Flying, right?
Yeah.
So he could see his daughter. And he said, you know what, Kashaun, enough is enough. He said, Farah, he walked away from everything. He left everything behind. He moved to Fort Lauderdale without a job. Nothing.
Just to be near his child.
Just to be near his daughter. He had a place to stay. He stayed with a friend. He said he slept on the floor.
I remember that.
He went days without eating, and he slept on his luggage. But he said, Kashaun, the smile on my daughter's face when I told her I wasn't going back and I live here, he said, it's priceless. You see, that's focusing on your child's future, where the future is so much greater. I say that your present struggle is worth your future dream. So focus on your child's future. The next thing is champion fathers create champion children. Your presence as a father create an endless present for your child. And it reminds me of one of the many phenomenal and compelling stories in the book, Kai Morgan. And I'm not even really going to talk about his story. I want the viewers to really, to get the book and read his story. But, Kai had a situation that happened in his life. And it's not the ideal. It wasn't the most ideal situation to find yourself in as a married man. And, certain things happened. And Kai, he couldn't see his daughter like the way he wanted to. And he said it really hurt him to his core. But he said, again, like Daniel, he said, Kashaun, enough is enough. This is amazing how powerful love is. Well, he said, enough is enough. He said, I had to let it be known that this young lady is my daughter.
Yes.
He risked everything. He put everything on the line to create an everlasting presence for his daughter, because he knew that his presence ultimately creates a present. And then the last one is it doesn't matter. Let me say it this way. Focusing on your child's future is phenomenal. Your presence create a present is awesome as well. But the last tip, maintain a healthy relationship with the child's mother. That is epic. That is the end all be all. Absolutely. If you cannot, for any reason, get to level 3 or work on level 3, everything that you do is for no reason.
Wow.
It really, I mean, that's not a champion father. A champion father, because I know every family dynamic is different, but an ordinary father will run. I don't want to be bothered with her. Just various reasons he just don't want to be bothered. So with that being said, the champion father, he understands he grows from his struggles. He grows from his obstacles. So he is willing to do what he has to do for his children. That's why he focuses on their future. He knows that his present create a present, and that in order to become the true world-class champion father, he maintains and creates a healthy relationship with the mother.
Kashaun, this book is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. Tell us where we can find you so that we can go out and get this book and learn how to become champion fathers.
Well, you can visit our website. The website is championfather.net. That's www.championfather.net. And also, we invite you to join the almost 45,000 supporters of Fathers Rock on Facebook. That is Fathers Rock on Facebook. And also, you can email me at kashaun.cooper@gmail.com. kashaun.cooper@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for coming out and speaking to us about the Champion Father, and we cannot wait to see what happens next with you. It's great having you on our show.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right. So thank you for joining us on Beyond Focus TV this evening, and have a great night.
S'oublier un peu quoi en écoutant cette musique.
Man, this is party. No, what's
Gege.